Hello, all you Aries people out there. I've got your dynamite forecast right here, and I'm going to share it with you. It's short, it's sweet, and to the point, just the way you like it. I won't keep you long. Um, First of all, uh, look at this. Isn't this just, for those of you who study astrology, you can see what I'm talking about. For those of you who don't, I'm going to explain it to you. First of all, you notice right here on the ascendant of the solar chart, you've got Mars. Now, Mars is your ruling planet. Mars is the planet of war. It's the planet of action. It's the planet of short attention span, short-term goal with a quick reward. Wherever Mars is in your birth chart, that's the area that comes first to you. That's the area of life that you will fight with and fight for. It's what comes first to you. So, if you don't have a copy of your birth chart yet, and you want to get one, go to my website. I'm offering the printout of the chart, not an interpretation, printout of the actual chart. Go for it. Okay, so back to Aries. Mars is hidden in the 12th house of the subconscious, of behind the scenes activities, of hibernation. And of course, we have been told to shelter in place, to stay home, etc. It is sometimes very difficult for a sign as active as Aries to do so. However, for all intents and purposes, Aries, you've been awesome. You've been pulling back, retreating, working from home perhaps, working behind the scenes. This is everything that Mars in the 12th is talking about. There can be an element of sadness, of sorrow because of the 12th house. That's just what happens. However, on the 27th, Mars moves into your first house. It sits on your solar ascendant, and you are off and running. This is when you say, out of my way. I'm doing what I want, when I want, how I want, because I want. Now, I hear you, Aries, saying, well, I always do that anyhow. Yeah, you do. You're going to do it even more. And because Mars is stronger for having been cooped up, whether emotionally or literally. And so when it's in the first house, your mantra truly becomes, I'm doing what I want, when I want, how I want, because I want, and my way or the highway. And you're going to hit the ground running. If you have been suppressing the rage that you are feeling, perhaps over the situation in our world, in the United States, in your own country, wherever you are on the globe. I know I have many friends all over the world. When Mars moves into that first house, it's all over but the shouting. So, pretty cool, huh? Okay, let's keep on going for a second here, because it doesn't take long to go through these forecasts. The sun, the center of our life, is where we put our attention. It's called the giver of life, and that is what it is, the center of our life. Now, Mars is what comes first with us. It's what we're willing to fight for. The sun simply says, I'm adding a light wherever I go. And the third house is the house of communication. This is you speaking or talking, sharing ideas. And it's very, very important to Aries that you have a short-term goal with a quick reward. It's very important to Aries that you, this month, be free to express your ideas, whether verbally or non-verbally, doesn't matter. Now, on the 20th, The sun is going to move into your fourth house. Okay? And that's the house of home and family and real estate. And you might say, well, gosh, does this mean that I have to hibernate again? No, it doesn't mean that you have to, but it does mean that your emotional security needs, you're going to want them to be fulfilled, understandably. And home and family will be very important to you, your own emotional security needs. You're going to take care of those. Cool. Now, the two planets that are really messing with us, Venus and Mercury, the tag team, okay? Venus is retrograde all month in the third house. And so you've got beautiful ideas, terrific ideas, but with Venus retrograde, it's hurry up and wait. It feels just like a Mercury retrograde, which is what's going on in your fourth house of home and family and real estate, which means there can be a change in your communication with your family. With retrogrades, don't accept the information you receive to be carved in stone, because it's not. With Mercury retrograde, our ideas change, our communication changes, and in your case, with family members. Venus is going to go direct on the 25th. Mercury will go retrograde on the 18th. And of course, this then becomes that week, that tag team week, from June 18th through the 25th, when everything is confused. With Venus in the third house, my suggestion is that if you're going to take a trip, make it a quick trip and a short trip, short distance, because that variety is what you need. You need to be active. And with Mercury retrograde, there's confusion. You're going to want to speak to your family, perhaps, communicate with them. This might be a time you might come across the house that you want to buy, the house that you love. You are not going to want to sign any contracts while Mercury is retrograde, or even while Venus is retrograde. And remember that they come out of the shadow of the retrograde. Venus on July 20, Mercury on July 26th, Venus on July 28th. Now, we've got the two eclipses in the middle of all of this. The full moon, the lunar eclipse, is sitting in your ninth house of the higher mind, long distance travel, which you may or may not be doing. However, the ninth house is the house of your belief system, and you will be looking very closely at your beliefs, taking a stand for them. The ninth house wants to expand its thinking. It's always seeing a big picture and taking a stand for the truth. So the full moon is when things come to a head. And that full moon is on June 5th. If you are here in the United States, around the world, it can be a different date. It's in 15 Sagittarius 34. And so this will help you get very clear on your beliefs, on what you're willing to fight for. And it will give you the opportunity to see a much larger picture than where you're coming from now. Then, as the moon starts waning, for 2 weeks, we are preparing for the new moon, which will be on June 21st in 0 Cancer, in the fourth house. Now, this is a solar eclipse, and remember that the power of an eclipse is that we feel it about a week before it occurs, and it lasts at least until the next batch of eclipses come along. And so you've got these eclipses. They're going to be at their peak 3 to 4 months after they occur. So it's September, October, and there's a July eclipse, so it'll be November. That is when these eclipses will come into their own. So make note, put it on your calendar, okay? So the eclipses, the first one says travel, see the world, look at the big picture. The second one says stay home, nurture those you love, and start with yourself. So that's the way June looks. I hope you'll join me next month when once again we pick up where we left off. Until then, may the stars shine brightly on you and yours.